Remember the disclaimer. And also remember that anyone who supported me on Patreon got to see preview images, work in progress shots, and high resolution images of the completed toy. If you want to join them, even the smallest donation helps. The link is in the description below. Hello up there, this is WakeAngel2001 completing the commission for Chaoshog17 with the last figure that he requested. Although, his brother has one coming too. They're two different people, but I'm making them at the same time. But yeah, it's the last one of Chaoshog17's customs, let's say that. It's Bean the Duck, of course. You already saw the picture in the pre-credit sequence, so this is the first time I'm making Bean using only one figure as the base. And it's the first time that that base figure is a Tomy figure, classic Tails in this instance. It's because he wanted a classic, a classic style Bean, more accurate to how he appeared in the initial video game, as opposed to his later appearances in the comic books. So yeah, the Tails figure, as I've established back when I made the Doctor Who Tails, can be dismantled, at least to the point where you can remove his head, although the arms and legs still can't be removed from the pegs without damaging the figure, so I had to just work with that. Fortunately, almost all the modification for this figure was in the head, mostly heavy sculpting, because he needed a bill, he needed feathers, and he needed the eyes to be reworked to make them into conjoined eyes, as opposed to the separate eyes that Tails has. So yeah, with that all being done, that's pretty much where almost all the sculpting went, although there would be a little bit more later. The only issue is that I don't like this paint. In person, Testor's paints do look pretty good, they're nice and shiny, but they just don't photograph very well. I think it's because of the way they reflect the light, but trust me, when you have this figure in hand, it'll look much nicer. Of course, the body did still need a little bit of sculpting, mostly on the rear to, match the shape of a duck's body. Although the tail feathers themselves are actually made from Tails' actual bangs. I just, cut one of the bangs off. Although, funnily enough, these are Jazzware's Tails' bangs, not the Tomy Tails' bangs. I just thought that was kind of funny to mention. And, of course, he has an ascot, too. I had to wait for the tail feather attachments to harden first, because I didn't want to mush them out of place while I was putting the knot in the back of the ascot. And, of course, all of this was painted. His color palette is pretty simple. It's pretty much just green with yellow legs, and the ascot itself is red. The shoes were a repaint job. Again, it's mostly just making them look like a classic design. In this case, they're very similar to Sonic's shoes in that they have a thin white stripe going down the middle. And because of the Tomy figure's smaller size, I wasn't able to remove the sock cuffs. The Jazzwares figures leave a little bit more slack to remove the sock cuffs and sculpt the legs over, but on these smaller Tomy figures, that just isn't possible. So even though it's an inaccurate feature, he's going to have the sock cuffs. Sorry about that, but there's really nothing I can do without really breaking it. And here he is, Bean the Duck, nice and completed. Everyone's favorite crazy bomb-throwing seat waterfowl. Yeah, I really gotta get to work on figures faster. My output has really been down. I don't know, I guess maybe it's because of the conventions I was preparing for these past 2 months. But yeah. So that's Bean with his little L-shaped body. Hopefully I'll be able to pick up production and have more figures for you sooner. I know I'm working on a couple right now. I'm actually working on 3 right now, and hopefully they'll be done relatively fast. So yeah, with this, the smallest member of Team Hooligan is complete. And I do mean smallest, since he's the only one of the trio made out of a Tomy figure as opposed to the Jazzwares figures. He's actually quite dwarfed by the other 2. Although this could be somewhat accurate, as Bean has always been depicted as quite a small guy. Although, even standing next to Knack here, he looks positively dwarfed. It's funny considering that they're both classic Tails, just from different toy companies. And as a final note, Chaoshog17 sent me his Mighty figure back. The ears had snapped off, and he sent them for repairs, so a little bit of a paint touch-up and sticking the ears back on. His Mighty figure has recovered as well, and gets to take a picture with the Ray figure before they go off to join each other on his shelf. So, yep, that's everything. We'll see you guys next time, hopefully much sooner.